Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello, my name is Janaya and I love to read books. And if you are not new here, welcome back. We're here for another video. Let me move y'all because I feel like y'all turned a little bit. Is that better? I don't know, but we're gonna say it is. Today's video is my 26 books that I want to read in 2026 plus honorable mentions, because we know that I can never just choose the amount that I say I'm going to choose. So it's really like 32 because I have 6 honorable mentions that I want to talk to you guys about, and then I have my 26 books that I want to read this year. First, however, we're going to talk about stats from last year, as we all know, because I feel like I've brought it up in every video that I've posted in the last 6 months of 2025. 2025 was probably the hardest year of my entire life, hands down. And so a lot of reading didn't get done. I was in very much a lot of reading slumps, life slumps in general, and so I did not read the 25 books that I wanted to read last year. So we're gonna go through my stats of those. Let's see. So honestly, I did better than I thought I was gonna do, which is not saying a lot, honestly. So I had 25 books and then I had 5 honorable mentions. Let's talk about the honorable mentions first, because they just weren't like must read books for me. And that was Infinity Reaper, Infinity Reaper by Adam Silvera, Snow Globe by Park Soon-young, People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, Will of the Many by James Islington, and The Fury by Alice McAlady. The only book of those 3 or of those 5 that I read was The Fury by Alice McAlady, and that was indeed a 5-star, because of course it was. Okay, I feel like it's not centered. My dog did also just move it though, so it's okay. And then out of the 25 books that I wanted to read, you guys are going to see some repeats on my 2026 list, because there was a lot of books I wanted to read last year that I just didn't get to. And so the 25 books I wanted to read last year was The Winners by Frederick Bachman, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, They Both Die at the End, number 3, which ended up being called The Survivor Wants to Die at the End by Adam Silvera, Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, And They Lived by Stephen Salvatore, First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, Cujo by Stephen King, Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh, The Mistake by Elle Kennedy, This Time It's Real by Anne Liang, Permanent Record by M.K. Choi, Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid, From Look Off with Love by Mariana Zapata, The Neighbor Favorite by Christina Flores, Out There Screaming by Jordan Peele, The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, Ace of Spades by, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but you're going to see that in my 2026, so you're going to see the last name. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young, 1984 by George Orwell, My Friends by Frederick Bachman, and The Pairing by Casey McQuiston. And out of those, I read 16, so over half, and then I started 2 of them. The 2 that I started was Cujo and The Winners. Didn't finish either of those, but I started them, and that's all that matters. And yeah, so honestly, I didn't do that bad. I didn't read 10, or I didn't read 9 out of the 25 that I put on there originally. So I'm not too upset about that. So now that we've gone over stats of last year, we're gonna talk about the books that I want to read this year. Okay, so first we have honorable mentions. I have everything written down on this trusty piece of paper that is bright on camera, and I have 6 honorable mentions this year, and 2 of them I don't own, which is Just Friends by Haley Pham. I have been a Ryan Trahan girl for I don't even know how long, for as long as I can remember, as long as I have known what YouTube is, as long as he has had a channel, I have been watching his videos. And Haley Pham is his wife, and once I really got into reading, she was one of the first YouTubers that I really like clung on to, and so she's coming out with a book, and of course I'm going to read it. So Just Friends by Haley Pham, and then What a Match by Mimi Grace is also a book that I'm really excited about. It's already out. I don't know what it's about, but I do know that it takes place in the same world as, what is it called? Take a Break. To make a scene, and I really like that book for it being a novella. I really enjoyed that, so I want to read the second book in the series. At least I think it's the second book. It could be the first because I don't think I started reading them in order, but I'm really excited to read that. So those are the 2 honorable mentions that I don't own. If you hear my dog snoring, he decided to stop bothering me and decided to go to sleep. So it's not a grown man, it's a dog. The other 4 honorable mentions are books that I really want to get to this year, but am not like forcing onto myself in any way. Like if I read them, I read them and that's great. But if I don't, that's also okay. Like it's not a big deal because one of these books is definitely like a lot, and I kind of want this year to be a little bit more lighter, a little bit more airier, and you know, so yeah. But I guess the 3rd honorable mention is My Favorite Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren. I don't know what this book is about, but the cover gives me, what is it called? The Honeymooners, which is one of my favorite Christina and Lauren books. So I just feel like this should be the next one that I read. Don't you agree? I agree. Should I read synopsises in this book? I mean, in this video. I guess I can. This is gonna be a long video. My throat already hurts. So this one says, Millie Morris has always been one of the guys, a UC Santa Barbara professor. She's terrible at getting personal, and she, just like her 4 best guy friends and fellow professors, is perma single. So when a university function turns into a black tie gala, Millie and her circle make a pact that they'll join an online dating service to find +1s. But there's a hitch. After making the pact, Millie and one of the guys, Reed Campbell, secretly spend the sexiest night of their lives together, but decide they would be better off platonic. Online dating isn't for the faint of heart. While the guys are inundated, I think, with quality matches, Millie's first profile garners nothing but D-pics. Enter Catherine, Millie's functional persona in whose shoes she can be more vulnerable than she's ever been in person. Catherine and Reed strike up a digital pen palship, but Millie can't resist temptation in real life either. Soon, Millie will have to face her worst fear, intimacy, or risk losing her best friend. Oh, I'm excited. Oh, that sounds really good. She's low-key. No, she's not low-key. She is catfishing him. That's kind of crazy. I'm kind of here for it. The next honorable mention I have is Carving Shadows into Gold by Bridget Kemmerer. I don't know. She is the lady that wrote Forging Silver into Stars, which I loved. Tycho, Jax, obsessed. Anyway, this is the second book in that series, so I'm not going to read the back to you because it'd be a spoiler, and I don't do that here. But I'm so excited to read this. I wanted to read this immediately after the first book. I just didn't because life. Next honorable mention, Hidden Pictures by Jason Reckelack. This wasn't on my list at first, and then my brother got it for me for Christmas, and now it's on my list because I'm like, yes. So this is a thriller. For thrillers, I'm not going to read the synopsis because I personally like to go into them blind, and this is not a TBR video, and I only read synopsises for TBR videos. So you will not be getting the synopsis to this one, but from what I've heard, it's really good, and it has it's a little bit creepy. A little bit creepy? I mean, yeah. So I'm excited. Look at, guys, it has I'm not going to show you. I feel like it's definitely a spoiler, so I'm not going to show you, but it has little pictures in it. Creepy. And then the last honorable mention is Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh, which you guys saw was on my 25 to read in 2025. I did not read that. I started this and then my life went downhill, and so I stopped because my life went downhill. So it just wasn't gonna happen because the very end of the first book is something very traumatic, and then the very beginning of the first book is something very traumatic, and so I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I'm not going to do it. I'm also not going to read you the synopsis to this book because it is the second book in a series, and we don't do that here. So Keeping 13 is an honorable mention because it is heavy, and am I gonna want to read something this heavy this year? We shall see. But I mean, based on some of these other books that I have, you'd be like, girl, just read it. Now, getting on to the main event of this video, the 26 books that I want to read in 2026. I'm gonna say right now, this is not in like numerical order because I didn't put them in that order. I just wrote them down as I thought of them, and then I just grabbed them on my bookshelf and put them in a pile. So they're just in a pile. There's no I want to read this more than others. Now there are some that I want to read more than others, and if I want to read them the most, I will let you know. But for the most part, it's literally just randomized books that I'm just like, I really want to read that this year. So yeah, there's 2 that I don't own yet. Well, one I did own and then it got lost, and then the second one I just don't own yet because I'm waiting for it to come out in paperback. So one of them is The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Souljah. I did have this book, and then my mom lost it on an airplane, but she's getting me another one, so it will be here at some point, and I want to read that this year. And then I also have Audrey and Bash Are Just Friends, which is a young adult book. I know. But it's by Tia Williams, and it follows the daughter of, I forget her name, the daughter of the main character in 7 Days in June. I think her name was like Eva or something. Ava. I don't know. I feel like that was her name. But it's following her daughter, so I really want to read it, but I'm just waiting for it to come out in paperback because I am indeed a paperback girly. So those are the 2 that I don't own. I don't know the premise to either of them really. I just have had one for a long time and really want to read it, and then one is based off of the daughter of one of my favorite books. So those are the 2 I don't own, and the first 2 on this list. We then have Travis by Mia Sheridan. I feel like I just really need to read this because I feel like he really needs this redemption arc. You know, if you guys have read Archer's Voice, y'all know what I mean. He needs the redemption arc, and I'm hoping that he really gets it because while I do not like him, I'm willing to. You know what I mean? So yeah, but should I read? I guess we can read the back of this. It says, perhaps Travis's past is riddled with regrets, but his future looks limitless. He's the police chief in idyllic Pelion, Maine. Women are regularly falling at his feet, and his family has mostly forgiven his mistakes. But when the new guy in town crosses him, things start to look shaky, especially when he meets the stranger's smoothie-making, birdseed-eating daughter. Or sister. Sorry, I feel like it's always daughter. Haven Torres's life fell apart, or rather burned to the ground. At the time, it seemed like a solid idea to jump in her car, her brother a mostly willing co-pilot, and embark on a cross-country adventure for the summer, especially if she can catch the attention of Pelion's most eligible bachelor, Gage Buchanan, before she goes. After the local police chief tells her of her brother's scandalous misdeed, she knows without a doubt that Pelion is just another town where their stay is best short-lived. Still, she and Travis form an unlikely friendship, and at first, it seems simple enough. She'll help him make her brother sweat a little, and he'll help her win over Gage. But then Haven starts to see the man beneath the brooding, and Travis starts to see the woman beneath the mask. However, Haven refuses to be tied to Pelion, and Travis has vowed to never be second best ever again. Before they know it, Simple has started to look pretty complicated. Sounds pretty complicated. The next book I have is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. This is a thriller. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I definitely want to go into blind. I definitely want to go into this book blind because it is Alex Michaelides, and I just feel like thriller books are just so better when you go into them blind. And so blindness for this book, but I did read the first sentence in this book because I had to read it for picking my TBR. This one didn't get chosen, but I did read the first sentence, and I'm excited, to say the least. We then have Bottom of the Pyramid by Niyas. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but this is a dancer from Dance Moms. I feel like everyone knows that, but I love Dance Moms. I love Dance Moms, I'm not gonna lie. I am a trash TV girl, and Dance Moms is trash TV. And so Nia was my favorite because she was a little black girl on TV, and I was a little black girl watching Dance Moms. So I'm very interested in her story and how she felt everything went with Dance Moms. So it says, the short of it is that I would not concede to anyone's opinion of me. The fact that I knew I wasn't wanted on the team and only made me push harder. I needed to prove I am good enough, that I would stick to my commitments and come out stronger no matter what. I was treated as if I had less to offer, but I knew myself. I was a performer. Even if the playing field wasn't level, I wasn't going to stop. Watch me, I'd think. I'm not going anywhere. Abby made it seem as if being at the bottom was the absolute worst position, and some of my castmates leaned into that notion and treated me poorly because of it. But years later, I've come to think of this differently. Consider a cheerleading squad. When they form a pyramid, what does the bottom look like? The bottom has all the strongest members of the squad, who are there to ensure the team's members do not fall. Without the bottom of the pyramid, there would be no one at the top. The pyramid wouldn't even exist. I now know that I was the glue to the team, using my strength to hold everyone together, even when no one could see it. I've also always known one important reality. When you're at the bottom, the only place you can go is up. Ah! That's so good. I'm sorry, that's so good. That was from the introduction, so, I didn't realize that, so sorry. Oh. This is the synopsis, but I feel like that's pretty good. So I'm not gonna read the synopsis. Nia, you killed it. Love that. We then have a book that I'm really scared to read, but really want to read. But like I said, I'm scared. And that is this behemoth, The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. No, I'm actually terrified because why is this so long? It's so long and the words are small. How many pages is this? How many words is this actually? It has 611 pages. Okay, when you say it like that, it doesn't seem like that much, but the words are small. I'm excited to read it though. I am. It's a Theonite war story. Shall I read you the back? Shall I read you the back? I shall. It says, on a mountainside at the edge of the Kaiganese Empire live the most powerful fighters in the world. Warriors capable of raising the sea and wielding blades of ice. Ooh, ice. Sorry, I really like to eat ice. I'm anemic, so I like ice. For centuries, the fighters of the Kusanagi Peninsula have held the Empire's enemies at bay, earning their treacherous spit of land the name the Sword of Kaigen. Born into Kusanagi's legendary Matsuda family, 14-year-old Mamoru has always known his purpose to master his family's fighting techniques and defend his homeland. But when an outsider arrives and pulls back the curtain on Kaigen's alleged age of peace, Mamoru realizes that he might not have much time before he has to become the fighter he was bred to be. Even worse, the empire he was born to defend might stand on a foundation of lies. Misaki told herself that she left the passions of her youth behind when she married into the Masuda house. Determined to be a good housewife and mother, she hid away her sword along with everything from her days as a fighter in the faraway country. But with her son asking questions about the outside world, the threat of invasion looming on the horizon, and her frigid husband grating on her nerves, Misaki finds the fighter in her clawing its way back to the surface. When the winds of war reach the peninsula, will the Matsuda family have the strength to defend their empire, or will they tear each other apart before the true enemies ever reach their shores? Okay, so this is like war, but then there's also a lot of family drama in here. Wait a second, I'm kind of here for it. I'm actually really here for it. I am excited. There's also a map, and I love a map in a book. I do. We then have The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I have been in love with Sarah Adams books. I've read 3 at this point, I think, and I've just ate them all up. I really have. This one is The Cheat Sheet. It is about a football player. I come from a football family, so anything about football I am gonna read, and especially if it's a romance, I'm gonna read it. This one says, The friend zone is not the end zone for Bree Camden, who is helplessly in love with her longtime best friend and extremely hot NFL legend Nathan Danielson. Donaldson. I don't know why I thought Danielson. The only problem is that she can't admit her true feelings because he clearly sees her as the best friend with no romantic potential, and the last thing Bree wants is to ruin the relationship. But those abs. Nope, nothing but good old-fashioned, no touching the sexiest man alive platonic friendship for Bree. In any case, she has other things to worry about. After a car accident ended her chance at becoming a professional ballerina, Bree changed paths and now owns her own dance studio with big dreams to expand it. But one more rent increase can mean the end of the studio entirely. Then, as usual, Nathan comes to the rescue, buying the entire building. A stubborn Bree is not happy about it and decides to rebel with a couple, okay, maybe more than a couple of tequila shots. Then her plan backfires as she spills her deepest secrets to a TMZ reporter. Ooh. One viral video later, the world thinks that Nathan and Bree are the perfect couple. Before they can really talk about her confession, Nathan's publicist proposes a big opportunity that could mean the financial security for Bree. They have to pretend to be in love for 3 whole weeks. What will happen when Bree gives in to the feeling she's been desperately hiding for so long, and could she be imagining that Nathan is actually enjoying it? Sarah Adams scores more than touchdowns in this exciting Friends to Lovers romantic comedy. So I love Friends to Lovers. It's one of my favorite tropes. Also, this is fake dating, which is also one of my favorite tropes. And then we have football. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? We then have When I Think of You by Maya Ariel. This book I actually got at a airport because I can't go anywhere and not buy books. So I bought this book because, first of all, the cover is stunning and it's a black love story. I just like romances, and I like romances about black people because I'm a black girl. No shame. No shame. This one says, Kalia Wilson has paid her dues, but endless days spent behind the reception desk at a flashy film studio have only pushed her movie-making goals further out of reach. That is, until a surprise reunion presents an opportunity that can make her career or break her heart a second time. 7 years ago, Kalia's whirlwind college romance with Danny Prescott crashed and burned. While her career has stalled, his star is on the rise. So when the hotshot director reappears, offering her a job on his next major production, it's a shock to her system. Working with Danny may reignite the passion and promise of their film school days, but trusting him again won't come as easily. Despite their complex history, the pair soon rediscover a creative synergy that breaks down their emotional walls, opening up the possibility of a true connection. But when Hollywood politics and scandal threaten to sink the production of her career, Kalia may have to risk everything to do what's right, even if it means letting go of the second chance love of a lifetime. Oh my gosh, second chance romance, guys. I love that too. I really just love every trope, don't I? I feel like I've said, oh my gosh, I love that after every book. But I'm being very truthful. I do love that, and that's why these are all on this list. Guys, I fear this is taking too long because my throat hurts and I'm tired, and I think I've only gotten through 4 of my actual books. So we're gonna need to speed this up. We have Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. This is a book that I know nothing about, but it's Toni Morrison, and she is a black queen who made some great classics. And so I fear I'm gonna read all of her books. It says, Milkman Dead was born shortly after a neighborhood eccentric hurled himself off of a rooftop in a vain attempt at flight. For the rest of his life, he too will be trying to fly. With this brilliantly imagined novel, Nobel Prize laureate Toni Morrison audaciously transfigures the coming-of-age story as she follows Milkman from his Rust Belt city to the place of his family's origin. Morrison introduces an entire cast of strivers and seeresses, liars, and assassins, the inhabitants of a fully realized black world. Okay. So this seems like a lot is going to be going on. Because, okay. Okay. We then have Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was on my my 25 Dream 2025 last year, and I didn't get to it, so it's on here again. I feel like I've read the synopsis of this book so many times, so I feel like I can just tell you what it's going to be about. This book is basically, it has dual timelines, and basically it's following the two timelines of if she were to go with her ex-boyfriend, I think, or her best friend, and see what would happen. Yeah, her high school boyfriend, which in other words is her ex-boyfriend because she's no longer in high school. So yeah, and she's 29 because those are the big letters on the back, at the age of 29. So yeah, that's what this is about. I think this is gonna be really good. I have loved literally every single book that Taylor Jenkins Reid has written, so I feel like this is gonna be no different. Of course, we then have another book that I'm scared of, but my friends are pressuring me to read it, so I'm gonna read it maybe this year, and that is Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Basterica. If y'all know, y'all know. This is scary. I'm not gonna tell you what this book is about, but I know it involves eating special meat. Yeah. Then James by Percival Everett. This I'm really excited to read. I got this on my birthday last year, before my life derailed. I'm a little dramatic, but honestly that's how it feels in my brain. Like my life derailed a week after my birthday. It was just a great time. Anyways, this says, when Jim overhears that he is about to be sold to a man in New Orleans, separated from his wife and daughter forever, he runs away until he can formulate a plan. Meanwhile, Huck has faked his own death to escape his violent father. As all readers of the American literature know, thus begins the dangerous and transcendent journey by raft down the Mississippi River towards the elusive and unreliable promise of the free states and beyond. Brimming with the electrifying humor and lacerating observations that have made Everett a literary icon, in this brilliant and tender novel radically illuminates Jim's agency, intelligence, and compassion as never before. James is destined to be a major publishing event and a cornerstone of 21st century American literature. So it's a reimagining of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I've never read the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, but I've heard of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and this is based on like the slave's point of view. Yes. We then have The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, which honestly I feel like I have read this 3 times in the past month. Not the whole book, but the synopsis, because I think I have. But this is historical fiction. It takes place in 1972, and it's like a murder mystery, and it takes place in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, Northeast. That's where I'm from, y'all. Northeast. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say, because I feel like if you really want to know what this book is about, go watch my November TBR or my October TBR, or I'm pretty sure, actually no, it's not in a video where I bought it because I lost the footage for it. So yeah, that sucked. But can y'all tell my voice? I think I'm getting sick again. I'm gonna cry. Someone at work predicted that I got sick last time, and I was like, no, I'm not. And then they did it again. They were like, your throat sounds weird, you're getting sick. Don't put that bad juju on me. This book was on my This book was on my 25 book streak in 2025, and it was one of my non-negotiables. I said if I didn't read this, I was getting rid of it. Clearly that's not happening, but I'm giving myself a little bit of grace when it comes to last year and what I was saying last year. So this is back on the TBR. If you want to know what this book is about, go back to my 25 books during 2025. Give me some views. But I don't know. I know it's like a normal person with like famous person, and I love that trope. She's like a movie star or something like that, and then or an influencer, and he's just like a regular college student that works at a bodega. So, love that. If you guys can't tell, I'm trying to like cut down on like which ones I read and which ones I don't. So I know, like if I know I've talked about the book or read the synopsis at some point in another video, I'm just not going to read it here because my throat hurts and the video is going to be too long. So yeah, if I've read it before, I'm not gonna read it here. If it's a thriller book, I'm not gonna read it here. And yeah, that's basically disclaimer in the middle of the video, but disclaimer. Next book is Isaac's Song by Daniel Black. This book, I think he's like a queer, I think he's gay, I think he is, and it's a historical fiction. Let me just read it to y'all because I don't know if I've read this one before, but it says, Isaac is at a crossroads in his young life. Growing up in Missouri, the son of a caustic, hard-driving father, he was conditioned to suppress his artistic pursuits and physical desires. But now, in late 80s Chicago, Isaac has finally carved out a life of his own and built up the courage to seek out a community. Yet just as he begins to embrace who he is, two social catalysts, the AIDS crisis and Ronnie King's attack, collectively extinguish his hard-earned joy. At a therapist's encouragement, Isaac begins to write down his story. As he taps into his creative energy, he commences a journey back to his family, his ancestral home in Arkansas, and the inherited trauma of the past. But a surprise discovery will either unlock the truth he's seeking or threaten to derail the life he's fought so hard to claim. Poignant, sweeping, and luminously told, Isaac's Song is a return to the beloved characters of Don't Cry for Me and a high watermark in the career of an award-winning author. So, the little thing at the top says, the beloved author of Don't Cry and Perfect Peace returns with a poignant, emotionally exuberant novel about a young queer black man finding his voice in 1980s Chicago. Oh wow, it's historical fiction, but 1980s, someone would not be happy with that being considered historical fiction, let me just say that. But really excited to read this. February read? Maybe, I don't know. Black History Month? Yes. Okay. I'm back after changing my battery and SD card, and we have the last 11 books to go through, and I am excited because I'm really excited for some of the books that are in this little pile right here. We have another one of my non-negotiables from last year, or actually I don't know if it was a non-negotiable, but I feel like it should have been because I've had this for as long, probably longer than I've had Permanent Record, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I need to read this before I read any of the other books that I have by her, which is the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and then the Six of Crows duology. I have to read this first because I've had this for way too long. So this is the book that needs to be read first. This is a duology, I believe. I think it's just called the Alex Astor series, and this is a fantasy. Fun. Yep. Look at the snake. Isn't it cute? I really want a snake, y'all, but my family's saying no. But I really think I should get one. Anyway, it says Galaxy. Her name is Galaxy. Galaxy Alex Stern is the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class. Raised in the Los Angeles hinterlands by a hippie mom, Alex dropped out of school early and into a world of shady drug dealer boyfriends, dead-end jobs, and much, much worse. In fact, by age 20, she is the sole survivor of a horrific unsolved multiple homicide. Oh, some might say she's thrown her life away. But at her hospital bed, Alex is offered a second chance to attend one of the world's most prestigious universities on a full ride. What's the catch, and why her? Still searching for answers, Alex arrives in New Haven, tasked by her mysterious benefactors with monitoring the activities of Yale's secret societies. Their 8 windowless tombs are the well-known haunts of the rich and powerful. From high-ranking politicians to Wall Street's biggest players, but their occult activities are more sinister and more extraordinary than any paranoid imagination might conceive. They tamper with the forbidden magic, they raise the dead, and sometimes they prey on the living. What is she getting herself into? Because I think that she should not. Sounds dangerous. Sounds dangerous. Sounds like something out of Mortal Instruments. And that is dangerous. We then have a book that I am so excited for, and that is Leather and Lark by Bren Weaver. This is the second book in the series, so I'm not going to read you the synopsis, but this is on my January TBR, and this will get read. This will get read. I completely ate up Butcher and Blackbird. Completely. And this, no difference. I'm ready. And then we have Infinity Reaper by Adam Silvera, second book in the series. Will not be telling you what this book is about, but read the first book, ate it up. Gonna read the second book, probably gonna have the same reaction. What's new? And then we have, I'm going so fast with these ones, we have The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. This book, I don't think anyone would expect me to want to be so excited to read this book. I don't think anyone was expecting my reaction to The Handmaid's Tale, which was a 5-star, one of the best books that I read in 2024. I'm pretty sure it was 2024. It was so good. It was just so good. And I wasn't expecting to have that reaction, but I did, and so I immediately got this book, which is considered the second book, but I also feel like it takes place, I think, like 200 years later. So I don't know. So I'm gonna read you the back of this, even though this is also on my January TBR, so I know I read this one. But it says, the Republic of Gilead maintains its repressive grip on power, but it's beginning to rot from within. At this crucial moment, two young women with radically different experiences of the regime will come face to face with the legendary, ruthless Aunt Lydia. If you know, you freaking know. But how far will each go for what she believes? I don't know, but I'm here to find out. Yep. We then have Snow Globe by Park Soon-young, or the Americanized version to say it, Soon-young Park. You guys will see. It has a bookmark. I got a whole 105 pages into this book, and then I stopped. I don't know why I stopped reading it. Like, I genuinely have no clue, because I was enjoying it. But I did stop. Which is, I don't understand why. Still to this day, I don't know why. But I could read you the synopsis, and I think it's a really cool synopsis. It says, enclosed under a vast dome, Snow Globe is the last place on Earth that's warm. Outside Snow Globe is a frozen wasteland, and every day citizens face the icy world to get to their jobs at the power plant, where they produce the energy Snow Globe needs to keep running. Their only solace comes in the form of 24-hour television programming the stream directly from the domed city. The residents of Snow Globe have everything: fame, fortune, and above all, safety from the desolation outside their walls. In exchange, their lives are broadcast to the less fortunate, who watch eagerly, hoping for the chance to one day become actors themselves. Chobam lives for the time she spends watching the shows produced inside Snow Globe. Her favorite, Go Around, starring Go Hedy, Snow Globe's biggest star, and it turns out the key to getting Chobam her dream life. Because Hedy is dead, and Chobam has been chosen to take her place. Only life inside Snow Globe is nothing like what you see on television. Reality is a lie, and truth seems to be forever out of reach. No, I remember, like, from what I've read from this book, I remember being like, yo, what the heck is happening? Like, it was a lot going on, but I was enjoying it, and it was a little bit of romance, and we know how I feel about romance. I love it. Okay, this book, I think it's gonna be one of my favorite books of all time. I do. Why am I getting emotional talking about this? I think it's, I know why. This was the book. I think it's gonna be one of my favorite books of all time, but I also think it's gonna be one of those books where I see it and I'm like, this was the book that I was reading. Like, the book that I was like actively reading in the middle of when my dog passed away. So for a long time I didn't, like, I wasn't reading it. She passed away, and then I think like a week later, when I was like, okay, finally I could pick up a book again, I tried to read this, and then it used a metaphor that said he looked as if someone kicked his dog. And then I was like, okay, so maybe we're not gonna do this. Maybe we're not gonna do this. And then towards the end of the year, in September, I want to say, I started reading it again, and then I stopped again because this book is just very, very emotional, and it's The Winners by Frederick Bachman. I really do want to read this year, but I'm also being very nice to myself and not forcing myself to read books that I think are going to give me reactions that I don't want to have. I'm protecting myself, and so there was a lot of times where I tried to read this book and then I just stopped because I'm like, I know how this book is going to make me feel, and I just don't want to feel that way, quite frankly. And I think that I am finally going to finish this book. I am like 30% of the way through it, and that is page 264. So I am a good amount of the way through this book. I'm going to finish this book. I just need to give myself some grace and some time to actually like get through this book and read this book, but it will get done. This is the third book, the third and final book of the Beartown trilogy, and both of those books have been 5 stars for me. I have cried at both of those books, and I am going to cry at this book, and this book is going to be a 5-star, and this book is probably going to be one of my favorite books of all time, like I've said twice before. But yeah, I'm not gonna read you the synopsis because it is, like I said, the last book of this series, but I will just say that I want everyone in the entire world to read this book and all of his other ones. So if that's not high praise, I don't know what is. We then have another one of his books, which is My Friends. This book I got on release day. Actually, I got it before release day because I ordered it. And obviously I ordered it because it's Frederick Bachman and he's my favorite author to ever exist. I honestly don't really know what this book is about. I just bought it because it's Frederick Bachman, and that was all I needed. So we're gonna read this together. It says, lay down. Thank you. Most people don't even notice them. 3 tiny figures sitting at the end of a long pier in the corner of one of the most famous paintings in the world. Most people think it's just a depiction of a wide expanse of sea. Most people think it's just a depiction of a wide expanse of sea. But Louisa, soon to be 18 years old and an aspiring artist herself, knows otherwise. She's determined to find out the story behind these 3 enigmatic, I don't know how to say that word, figures. More than 2 decades before, in a distant seaside town, a group of teenagers find refuge from their bruising home lives by spending long summer days on an abandoned pier, telling silly jokes, sharing secrets, and committing small acts of rebellion. These lost souls find in each other a reason to get up every morning, a reason to dream, a reason to love. Out of that summer emerges a transcendent work of art, a painting that, after a chance encounter in an alleyway, will unexpectedly be placed into Louisa's care. She embarks on a surprise-filled cross-country journey to discover how the painting came to be and to decide what to do with it. The closer she gets to the painting's birthplace, the more anxious she becomes about what she'll find. Louisa's complicated life is proof that happy endings are sometimes possible, but they don't always take the form we expect them to. Frederick Bachman's signature charm, humor, and attention to the pointed details of everyday life are on full display in this funny, moving novel. His most heartfelt and personal tale yet, My Friends, is a stunning testament to the transformative, timeless power of art and friendship. This is gonna be sad. I just freaking know it. It's gonna be sad. I don't know why this book just gives me Benji. And if you know Benji, that's a sad comparison for me to make because, you know. We then have First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This was on my last on my 25 to read in 2025. Didn't get to it. I think I read one chapter of it and I liked it, and then I just didn't finish it. Don't know why. I literally cannot tell you why I don't read, like why I start these books and I don't read them. I guess I just think it's not the right time. I'm very much a mood reader, so if I'm reading it and I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just not gonna read it. Now, to be fair, I'm gonna be so fair with this book because I started this book. The first chapter I read, I was literally I wasn't at home. I was in New York for a funeral. So I mean, like, I don't really think that's the best time to be reading any type of book. I don't think any book was gonna get me at that point. So I'm gonna give this book the benefit of the doubt. This one, I love the names. Let me tell. Oh my gosh, let me read it. It says, Aiden Valentine has a secret. He's Aiden Valentine? Like, are you kidding me? He's fallen out of love with love, and as the host of Baltimore's romance hotline, that's a bit of a problem. But when a young girl calls into the station to ask for dating advice for her mom, the interview goes viral, thrusting Aiden and heartstrings into the limelight. Lucy Stone thought she was doing just fine. She has a good job, an incredible family, and a smart, slightly devious kid. But when all of Baltimore is suddenly scrutinizing her love life, or lack thereof, she begins to question if she's as happy as she believed. Maybe a little more romance wouldn't be such a bad thing. Everyone wants Lucy to find her happy ending, even the handsome, temperamental man calling the shots. But when sparks start to fly behind the scenes, Lucy must make the final decision between the radio-sponsored Happily Ever After or the man in headphones next to her. Oh my gosh, Sarah Adams blurbed this. Guys. I'm so excited. The second book is also out of this one. I think it's called And Back to You. So I'm really excited. And this one is supposed to be based off of like sleeping Seattle, Sleepless in Seattle. Something like, clearly I haven't watched it. But I think it's supposed to be based off of that rom-com, which is so fun. I feel like actually, let me ask y'all because y'all might know. Someone might know. So one of my favorite movies in the entire world is 10 Things I Hate About You. And if there's any books that kind of give off that vibe, please let me know. Because I watch that movie at least 3 times a year, and I would really like to read a book 3 times a year that resembles that book. So if y'all know anything, let me know. Thank you. Next book, The Shining by Stephen King. Y'all knew that Stephen King was gonna be on here. Y'all just didn't know which one, and this is the one. This is the one. I just really want to read this book. I do. Oh my gosh. Wait a second, guys. Wait a second. Did y'all see that? I didn't realize that was something until I just looked. I was like, why is there low-key a mouth? Because that is a mouth. That's scary. And this is a thriller book, so I'm not going to be reading the synopsis. And I also think, I feel like if you've watched the movie or if you know anything about Stephen King, I feel like people know about this. They know about The Shining. You know Stephen King, you know The Shining. So I'm not going to read the synopsis. And even if you did know Stephen King, I wasn't going to read it anyway because it's a thriller and I definitely want to go into this blind. So stay tuned because it's probably going to be in a reading vlog because I do plan to read this and Dr. Sleep. I'm excited. I'm really excited, and I've never ever watched The Shining. Fun fact about me, I love me some Stephen King, right? But I have only ever watched it. That is the only Stephen King movie, book to movie adaptation that I've watched, and I have not seen any of the other ones. And now that I've gotten into reading and love Stephen King, I'm like, as a reader, as a girl who loves her books, I need to read the books before I watch the movies. And so that's what I'm doing next on the list because I'm currently reading Cujo. I'm like halfway through Cujo. And so Cujo is the next movie that I'm going to watch. That was the one. That and Pet Sematary, I think I'm the most excited about. Really, the Pet Sematary. And I really want to watch Pet Sematary because people say that one, they say the book is really scary, and also the movie is really scary. I'm a thriller horror girly, so speaking my language. The next book on my 26 to read in 2026 is Ace of Spades by, I'm gonna butcher this, but I'm gonna try it, okay? Frida Abike Iyamide. Farida Abike Iyamide. Comment down below if I was at least somewhat close. I'm pretty sure that this is a low-key young adult. I think it's young adult, but I'm also not 100% sure. But I just heard the synopsis and I've heard people talking about this and I'm just like, sounds like a book that I need to be reading. So I will read the synopsis for this one because I don't think this is a thriller. I honestly don't know what this is classified as, so I'm going to read it. It says, when two Nivis Private Academy students, Devin Richards and Chiamaka Adebayo, are selected to be part of the elite school's senior prefects, it looks like their year is off to an amazing start. After all, not only does it look great on college applications, but it officially puts them in the running for valedictorian too. Shortly after the announcement is made, though, someone who goes by Aces begins sending anonymous text messages to reveal secrets about the two of them that turn their lives upside down and threaten every aspect of their carefully planned futures. As Aces show no signs of stopping, what seemed like a sick prank quickly turns into a dangerous game with all the cards stacked against them. Can Devin and Chiamaka stop Aces before things become incredibly deadly? Ooh. That sounds so good. My bad, y'all. I'm tired. Okay, I am. I'm not gonna lie. How do you stop an unknown enemy? Wait, that sounds so good. It's a thriller mystery. I think this is young adult, but like I said, I'm not 100% sure. But I'm so ready, y'all. I am so ready. Ooh. I don't know why I love little things like this when it's a map, class schedules, playlists. I love it. I love it. I do. Well, there's a quote. They say life is full of surprises, that our dreams really can come true. Then again, so can our nightmares. Gossip Girls. Ooh, wait guys, look at this one. All I know is sometimes if there's too many white folks, I get nervous. From Get Out. Get Out. Okay, so I'm an anxious girl, and so I don't like to watch new things because I don't know what's gonna happen and it makes me really anxious. So I am very for comfort shows, comfort movies, comfort things, right? And I find movies that I like because it's usually movies, not really shows. I have like 4 comfort shows, which is Heartstopper, Shameless, Stranger Things, and Degrassi. Say what you will about my comfort shows. Oh, also Ink Master. Love me some Ink Master. Anyway, that's besides the point. Comfort movies. Get Out is one of my comfort movies. Like, I have movies that I will literally watch once a year. Like, I will watch them every single year. 10 Things I Hate About You. Get Out. Us. Hamilton. My Girl. I love that movie. That movie's, there's just one scene that makes me bawl my eyes out. I'm getting distracted. Anyway, the fact that this has a quote from Get Out, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna talk a lot about like a lot of important issues. I think it is. And so I'm ready. I'm ready and I'm here for it. And I am, yes, you will probably, I feel like I'm kind of trying to like plan out my videos, specifically reading vlogs, just because I know how little I've been reading. And so I'm trying to plan out my reading vlogs, and specifically like monthly, like reading vlogs that are going to be in certain months. And so I'm trying to plan out like my reading vlog for February, which is always my Black History Month. So reading books by Black authors. That one, I'm trying to plan out the books I want to read for that one. And then I always try to plan out very early on the books I'm going to read for my LGBTQ plus reading vlog in June for Pride Month. I always try to figure out those ones very early on so that I know not to read them until then, because I don't know. I try to pick books that I know I'm gonna like, or that I feel like are gonna be like really good books. And so I try to plan them out so I don't read them any other time during the year. That was TMI, but just a little insight on my planning. So yeah, that's probably gonna be in a February vlog. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Watch it. Because I think that book is gonna be so good. Okay. And now we're on the very last book of this 26 books train in 2026. And this is a book that, guys, so someone sent this book to me actually. And they sent it to me after my dog died. And they were like, she really just needs some love. And she sent it to me. And it is Fairy Catch by Candy Steiner. I have had this book on my Amazon wish list for literally like 2 years. Literally so long. And I finally got it. I got it last year because I'm sure this was in a TBR, or not a TBR, a haul. And she got this for me, and I'm just so excited because it's football. It literally says all is fair in love and football. I am a football girl. I am. And so when a book involves it's a football romance, like I love a sports romance, but you don't see a lot of football romances, and I am particularly intrigued by football romances because I actually know what's going on. Like a hockey romance, I don't know the first thing about hockey. Football, I know football. Okay, and so I get really excited, and I'm really excited about this one. One, the cover's so pretty. Two, I've heard really good things about Candy Steiner. And then three, let me just read you the back. It says, as if things aren't already tough enough, as the only girl on a college football team, coach had to go and assign Zeke Collins as my roommate. Ooh, a cocky kick returner and my brother's best friend who should have been ripped of that title years ago. He's as infuriating as he is undeniably sexy. I hate him, and for good reason I won't ever let him forget. He thinks that because we grew up together that it's his role to protect me, but all he does is get in my way, make me look weak, and make me mad. I tell him I can handle myself, and I'm hell-bent on getting that point across to him and the rest of the nation watching, the only girl in college football. The pressure doesn't get to me. The scrutiny I'm ready for. But sharing very thin walls with Zeke Collins, I wasn't prepared for that. And the more we're forced together, the harder it is to distinguish that pencil-thin line between hating him and wanting him. So, we have a lot of tropes going on. But the main thing that I'm super interested in is the fact that she is the only girl on a football team. It's giving Belle and the Bulldogs. Y'all know what that show is. I love Belle and the Bulldogs. That's what it's given. Given Belle and the Bulldogs, and I'm here for it. But also, so it's brother's best friend. Kind of rivals to lovers. Childhood somethings. And then forced proximity. So we got a lot going on, basically, is what I'm saying. And I'm so very excited to read this book. This is probably one of the ones I'm the most excited to read because it's just, I feel like it just has all the recipes for an amazing book. A scrumptious book, will I say. But those are the 26 books that I want to read in 26. My 26 for 26 plus 6. Oh my gosh, wait, that's so great. 26 for 26 plus 6. Isn't that just great? I don't know. I love that. But yeah, those are the books that I want to read this year, and I am determined to read most of them this year. If you guys have read any of these books, please let me know how you guys have felt about them with no spoilers, because like I said, we don't do that on this channel. But if you guys have read any of these books, please tell me your opinions down below. Which one should I put higher on my list? Which ones are you guys kind of like, maybe you should take that off? Give me all of the information, all of it. But yeah, that is the end of this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.